was thinking, what are you talking about?
It's been open for like a month or so.
I left.
Good evening and welcome to Wednesday, February 14th meeting of the Planning Board. Present this evening, we have Kevin Sullivan, member, Daniel Edmiston, member, John Briere, alternate member, Pamela Humphrey, clerk to the board, myself, Guy Horn, vice chairman, and we have our planner, Don Johnson, with us. Looking at our agenda, we'll start off with item letter A, approval of meeting minutes from January 24th, 2018.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from January 24th, 2018.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? Okay, the minutes have been
Not as
accepted.
voting on this, by the way, because this is an alternate.
Say that again?
What?
Not as voting on this as an alternate.
Well, the only thing as an alternate is special permits. I can't even vote on any of minutes or anything.
That's right, yes.
Correct.
Yep.
I'm just an observer.
Okay. Well, you're a
For our
participant in a
company.
different way.
John, do you have 2 copies for us to sign, or
I can get 2 copies.
are they in here? Go ahead and start signing.
You got that one?
I think they got 2 of them. Yeah.
Okay, moving on from the minutes, our next item, agenda B, budget for fiscal year 2019.
First draft is based on last year's. It's basically 2% increase for everything. Last couple of years, the CMRPC payment has increased 2.5%, so that's a 2.5% increase. And last year, too, I initially asked for $1,000 for GIS. Everyone know what GIS is?
Yep.
Graphic Information Systems. It's computerized mapping. And
Okay, so
I don't know if we're gonna get it, but I'd give it a try. So it's a very, very useful tool for planning purposes.
right. So it's a 2% increase across the board on everything, and a 2.5, looks like a 2.56% increase on Central Mass regional dues. That we don't have any control over. And then the additional request for the $1,000 for the GIS mapping. So it's a total increase of $1,898, is that right?
It's the bottom line.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there any particular reason everything went up by 2% except for the clerical salary? Have the costs just
Well,
remained?
it's flat fee,
Okay.
flat $2,000. I talked to Greg about it.
Right. Just curious.
The rest of it comes out of a pool of some kind, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a secretarial pool, or whatever it may be, what you want to call it.
Because Carol Savard that does our minutes for us, she's also works for conservation, correct?
Right.
So this is like an additional duty for her, not
Additional part-time.
not a job, right?
Yeah.
Or not a full-time job or a part-time job.
But
It's
she's
just
still there 20 hours.
okay.
16 hours a week or so.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions on the draft of the proposed budget?
When will you find out if that GIS will be approved?
We'll see what the town administrator comes out with a recommendation for.
So we'll reconcile that before the actual meeting where the budget is voted on?
Yeah, before the town meeting, sure.
Okay.
Well, the town budget is the budget of the Board of Selectmen, so we're just like every other department asking for our amount.
Mm.
What the final amount is, we have no control over it. They set it, and then it gets voted in at town meeting.
Right.
I mean, the most we could do if we didn't like the amount at town meeting was ask the people at town meeting to, raise our budget for some reason.
Stand up and make our case.
Yeah,
Town administrator and the town accountant are asking for this by Friday, so
yeah.
that's why I ran it by the board, we got a chance to, so.
Yep.
Yep.
Looks okay. Thank you, Don. Our next agenda item, item C.
Motion to approve.
Not really, because it wasn't really ultimately get approved by us.
Yeah, we never really voted on any,
Just want to keep the board apprised.
we never really voted on these in the past because, like I said, we don't really have control over it. It's up to the Board of Selectmen. They set it.
Okay.
So, I mean, we just make our plea like every other department and saying this is what we would like, and,
Right.
if we end up getting 1% across the board, we get 1% across the board, unless, like I said, somebody stands up at town meeting and pleads our case.
Yep, makes sense.
Yep. All right. Item C, annual report for fiscal year 2017.
The one you have printed is a little bit, I added a little bit to the one that you had online, though, that I sent out in the email.
Yep.
Just added the numbers in that section on the second page. Numbers of actual plans, the number of new building lots that they actually created over the course of the fiscal year. Some, obviously, that you're not gonna see in there, we've done this year.
Right.
But that's just through June 30th.
But you've already, those numbers are the total for fiscal year 2017. Okay. That looks about right from what we've had in the past. Maybe a little bit lower, but things are slower than usual. Okay. And then, this isn't due until April?
If you'd like to take it home and look at it, that's fine, no problem. We'll go on next month,
Yeah, we have another meeting before it's due, right?
too, actually.
Okay, so we could vote on it next meeting and actually sign off on it if we have to?
Yeah.
Or is it just the chairman that signs off?
It's the chairman that signs off, but I would
Okay.
think the board would vote on it, this particular item.
Yeah, okay.
Take it home and look at it and. get a
So
good
the only
part
thing
and-
that was been revised since the draft that you sent us by
believe so.
email was were the numbers, right?
Yeah, as far as I remember.
Okay.
I took out one word too, but
I read it, I found it was pretty good.
an
Right
extra
away.
word in
I
there.
didn't have
The
any
last sentence
complaints
on the
or
second
issues.
page.
Yep.
Last sentence on the second page with an extra word.
Mm-hmm.
They tested me?
So the copy in our books is the most up-to-date draft?
Right.
Yeah, okay. No problem. So that would be item C. Moving along, item D, discussion on finishing construction of and acceptance of uncompleted, unaccepted subdivision streets.
Haven't heard much more, just, when, Tony Secura picked up with his, A&R plan, he just told me that he's probably gonna be in on the 14th of March to talk to the board about phasing his completion,
Okay?
Raising is what? I'm sorry.
phasing his completion,
Oh,
how he's gonna go about it. And just, he would like to, as soon as possible, to get the catch basins raised and prepare for the final pavement. So,
Okay. And we never heard anything back from Mr. Heaney on Eisenhower Drive? Okay.
trying again when spring comes along now.
Yep. Well, the clerk, the accountant does send out letters yearly, right, to let them know that they have money still in their accounts, and
Yeah,
if they want their money refunded, they need to finish the project.
right.
Okay. Do you know when those come up? Those come out the end of the fiscal year?
Usually sends them out just after July 1st, the beginning of July,
Okay.
based on what was in there at the closing of the fiscal year.
So we might get a flood of people in for middle of the year, middle of summer.
I don't know about that, but
Okay.
we'll be in touch with them before then.
I'm assuming we've had most of these for a couple of years now, I mean.
Oh, yeah, we've had some for, since John was chairman. What, 15
Eisenhower.
years?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all Eisenhower needed was a few street trees. And he's still plowing it.
At least he's still plowing it.
Right. So, yeah.
Well, there's a resident that's helping him plow, let's put it that way.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, moving on, we'll talk about item E, discussion on status of economic development planning, including subsection A, Phase 1 Economic Development Strategy Plan and survey results. B, integration of 2015 Village District Study and scheduling of Village District Walk. And C, Phase 2 Economic Development Strategic Plan, contents, and work plan.
I passed out hard copies of a lot of that last week.
Yep.
Last meeting, rather. And John, you have it in front of you right now, ones that I passed out last week as well as we had today. What I gave you over the weekend in your agenda packet that I emailed to you was the Phase 2 work plan. It's more or less right out of the Phase 1 application and the report itself. I added a little bit to it. We were talking about adding the site walk and the corridor plan that was done in 2015. We didn't set a date for it, but I wanted to run it by John and the Economic Development Commission too.
So Don, with Phase 2, does it look like that's gonna actually be covered, because the application period, expires, is it 24th? It shouldn't cost the town any money for Phase 2, right?
No,
Nice job, by the way, on that, thank you.
I don't think so anyway.
All right,
I think it's in the application form.
okay.
I think we're covered.
Yeah, and
Honestly, I
so,
think so too.
so my understanding is CMRPC's Phase 2 portion would begin the fall of this year into next year.
Not really the fall. I think they'd probably begin in a few months.
Really? Okay. And just so, so we're trying to do a pretty comprehensive economic development plan for the town. And CMRPC, we wanted them to run kind of with their own thing that they would typically do with an economic development plan. But simultaneously, we've been holding our own public hearings as well and kind of developing our own things. And so our goal, we have an economic development meeting on Tuesday. We didn't have one in January. Our goal is that hopefully in the next 60 days to present to the town a draft economic development plan. And so the CMRPC will be one of the addendums to that. And, pursuing Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 will help us, hopefully with grants and some of the, maybe with the federal infrastructure bill that's out there. We'll see if there's any kind of monies and, the state as well. But we really wanted the plan to be tactical with specific goals assigned to like various departments and cover the whole thing. So, I thought it was good what they did here. A little light, but for Phase 1, but, Phase 2, we'll
In
see.
Phase 2, we're gonna get into a lot more detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like some of the things in the economic development plan, we absolutely recommend the town go to a GIS system because it'll increase efficiency, it'll give people access to information, things like that. One of the recommendations is gonna be that the town actually set up an agricultural commission. We've been getting a lot of information from both the federal and state agricultural departments. There's a lot of money on the table right now for farmers to help transition crops and stuff. And they're willing to come in and actually sit down with us. They actually recommended that we reach out to, like, if we have the Grange and some of the local farmers and see some of the other tactical things that's not covered in this plan, the establishment of a recreation, not a committee, but a commission that has authority, has money that other departments can't do, that can manage like the beach, the rail trails and other things like that, activities and social functions. So we'll see, once the draft is done, we'll give it out to everybody, and even though we don't have to get it voted on at town meeting, I think symbolically, we'll probably present it to one of the town meetings, just so the town knows what's going on and hopefully get behind it as well.
So again, look over the scope of phase 2. The only thing I added on there was a little bit more detail about working with wind on the Stephen Mill. Ron from CMRPC says that he's not sure how much time they can devote to that because it's a little bit above and beyond, but I think the committee and board, myself, I think we can work a little bit more on that, or administrative, whatever.
So we did give them, I know when they were here last, they asked for some letters, and we did give them what they asked for. But I think you stated at a later meeting that they missed the window or something with the state.
Apparently they missed the window, but the email I got from Greg said that they're not getting it this year, but they're definitely getting it next year.
Okay.
So it'll be a 2019 project before the board, per se.
Okay.
In the meantime, we can certainly work up to that with them. There's state programs out there for housing, infrastructure. You look at a lot of things in the meantime. We have the ability to do that now.
Now, one of the things that this winter did was it caused enormous economic hardship on a number of very small businesses that were located in town, both mills, right? Pipes froze. They were out of business, flea market's out of business. There's no place for those businesses to set up shop in Dudley. We just don't have the vacancy. We don't have the retail space. And so I think one of the things we have to look at is how do we get those type of retail places built?
I think they're looking at first floor retail too, though, or commercial of some kind.
Yeah, but all those dislocated businesses,
Yeah.
there was zero opportunity for them to stay in Dudley. There is just no available vacant, ready to move into retail space if you really think about what we have in town.
A couple of vacant places on West Main, but
But
much.
Not of the capacity.
There really isn't.
Not a big capacity, no. There's one that was just sell hot tubs or something.
yeah, that's
Abandoned gas station.
yeah,
But
but not move-in ready,
No.
right? That gas station, right? We probably have to be demoed and something else built.
Yeah.
And so maybe something for the planning board to consider is how do we make it easy for people who are willing to invest and maybe build new commercial space with the site plan review? Is there a fast track process? That's the kind of stuff that we need to be thinking is, the whole idea of the village is great, but what parcels are we gonna target, to do that?
A straight site plan review with use by right, we're really at a 65-day time frame, so that's not
65-day
Not
time
very
frame on
honest.
use by right.
use by right, yes.
So that means with no additional going to the ZBA or
Right.
anything like that.
If they can go through the Conservation Commission at the same time if they need to, that certainly helps too.
Yeah. So, that was heartbreaking to see all those businesses.
What is going to become of those mills? Are they just closed forever?
Don't know. Supposedly, my understanding is that the owners were all gonna rectify the issues in the spring, when the pipes thawed out.
But those businesses will probably have moved on and found a new place.
I would think so. Well,
They're
they're out
on
of
insurance
business.
right now, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, food for thought.
If there's anything else that you think of that you want to tweak that anyway, just let me know before a week from now or so.
Okay.
And we'll bring before the EDC any way that you prefer to. So,
All right. Our next thing on our agenda is public hearings. We don't have any of those this evening. Next thing, item F, would be planner's plate. Do you have anything else, Don?
other than we talked about, I've had a couple interest in some small subdivisions.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes. May have someone asking for a work session in a couple of months.
Can you speak up just a little, Don? I'm
We
sorry.
may
I
have someone
can't-
asking for a work session in a month or so. Had some interest in one of the solar arrays too. And I'm meeting with someone next week, so we'll see.
Small subdivisions. Okay,
Could I ask Don a question?
sure.
Stevens Linens, one of the comments made after they announced that they were closing the Dudley Do-Right Flea Market was that the facility itself is $40,000 in the rears for taxes to the town, and that the owner could be possibly having financial hardships or difficulties, and the latest deal fell through. Do you know anything about that?
What latest deal fell through?
I don't know. That, I guess, his discussions with the developer have terminated, and I'm wondering if that has,
Is that when?
that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if you heard anything at all about that.
I didn't hear that.
Okay. Because that was in the Telegram article on that. And I just kind of caught my attention, because that's the only one that I knew that he was talking to.
That's what we were talking about earlier, and he said that, they missed the window for this year with the state for financing for the affordable housing, but it was a definite go for next year. So we would be looking at 2019 for a project.
So that's the question is, why would the owner quote the Telegram saying that the latest thing he had going on with the developer has fallen through?
Wonder if it's related to
know.
the pipes being
I
in the
don't
condition
know.
they are and such.
Was it after that deep freeze?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonder if that might have revealed some, deal breakers for him.
it's possible, because that memo or that email I was speaking of, reference to 2019, probably came about a month ago at least.
Is it possible to reach out to him and just see if they're still
Could
working
certainly-
together?
We have the name and, we have the contact information for the
Yeah.
developer. We could just call them
Send them a
directly and
call,
see if they're
sure.
still
Yeah.
interested.
Cut out the middleman.
Okay.
How can they be $40,000 in?
The rears and taxes, I don't know,
Yeah,
if that's
I
what the
mean,
T and
that's
G
That
quoted.
seems like an awful lot of
Yeah.
money.
It would have to be paid back on closing, though.
In closing what, in,
The sale.
The new owner,
they sold it?
If they do.
the new owner would have to pay the back
It would
taxes.
get straightened out of transfer of the,
But that, you didn't say they were talking about selling. It was just
Yeah. It just,
kind of like,
and then, because a part of me is thinking, depending on how long that goes, how long is it before the town takes it for lack of payment of taxes?
It's up to the treasurer, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not usually very long.
yeah. You know, the other interesting thing the article said is that they burn, I forget, it was almost like $30,000 a month in oil.
just to keep it,
Yeah, it was an insane amount. Boy, I want to say, I think it burned 300 to 400 gallons a day, it said, or something like
are you
that.
kidding me?
Yeah.
With no insulation at all. The things,
just 2
if it
foot
was rehab,
thick
that would
stone
probably
walls.
be quite a bit different, I would think.
I'll see if I can find the link to the T and G article
Yeah.
and send it to everybody tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to read that.
Okay.
All right. Okay, next item on the agenda is G, comments from the planning board. Any comments?
I had a little bit more, actually.
Oh, sorry, Don. Thought you
Jeez,
were done.
Guy.
No problem.
We're still looking at the recreational marijuana.
Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna have an article for this town meeting, for the spring town meeting. I think it'll probably be for the fall town meeting.
Okay.
Anything, there's a few towns that are working on it, a few towns that have an article out there, but there's only 2 that I'm aware of. There's not many that have done it yet, but we still have the moratorium in effect, we got that. So, I'll meet with the committee soon, I presume.
Well, I did hear that,
You're on that committee, John, right?
Yeah. I haven't heard anything new.
Let's see what, I'll talk to Greg again, and we'll see what we wanna do. I'll meet on that one.
I did hear that the town of Charlton has approved, I think, a distribution center on Route 20.
Something on Route 20, right?
Yeah, they're building, there was an old strip mall, and they're rebuilding it right now. I saw they had a tent over the entire building because it's concrete blocks, and they're rebuilding it. Okay.
Is there anything that we wanna do with the zoning this time around? I've been finding little works here and there, and working out with the building inspector for the most part. I can talk to him tomorrow night to see if there's anything he wants to do, and we can propose.
Okay.
Get something for the next meeting. Some drafts, get going at it. Is there anything else that anybody found that we need help with?
When is the next town meeting scheduled for? Is it May?
The warrant is open, I think. The warrant just opened last week,
Okay.
and it closes on the first week of April, April 6th or something like that.
Okay.
But we have the whole month of March to get articles in, but I wouldn't want to do it too late, because then we get to squeeze in a hearing, and,
Right.
we don't want it to get too close either.
Okay, so if anybody has anything they want to bring up at the next meeting, that would be a good thing to bring up.
Yeah.
Okay. All set, Don?
All set.
Okay. Now to G, comments from the planning board. Anybody have comments?
Nope, none at this time.
The only thing I wanted to bring up was I saw today that there was I don't know if you got the memo, Don, I'm assuming you did. I didn't have a chance to forward it to you because I was in meetings all day, but I did read it before I left the office tonight that, it sounded like Central Mass Regional Planning was putting on a catch basin grant. It was a grant, there's grants available for repairs of catch basins in municipalities.
Oh, yeah,
Culverts.
it's not catch basins, it's culverts.
Culverts, okay.
Yeah, I heard about that. I went to a workshop on that a few months back, about 6
And
months back.
it
or
sounds
so.
like they're having one, that the Central Mass Regional Planning is putting on is having a workshop or a, meeting about it in Auburn, in the town of Auburn.
They have a few of them, if I remember correctly.
Right. Is that something
I was thinking I was gonna get in touch with the highway superintendent and see if there's anything out there.
that's what I was gonna say, is see if
Really
if he's interested in it.
And that we can apply for. Because I know it did say,
Yeah.
I was reading the document, it did say it had to be within standards of the clean water streams.
We have two rivers in town, so it's,
Mhm.
if, you know,
Yeah. But definitely see if there is one that would be
Yeah.
applicable and needs the work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you could just let him know that that's available, and if he has a need, then maybe we can,
Yeah, I was checking with him, so I'll do that definitely.
okay, thanks. Anybody else have anything? Okay. And I don't think we're gonna get any comments from the audience for item H.
On tonight,
Do we have any vouchers that need to get approved?
the big one here.
Oh, okay.
Big whopping $6.
Yep.
Oh, for Dan's nameplate,
Make me feel guilty.
big spender.
Okay, so we took care of the vouchers, and everything else is all set?
It's all set. The other thing I have here is I'd like you to sign a form that we can send to the registry of deeds, since we have a new member.
Okay.
Give me a new signature.
No problem.
Mark before I send it, but hopefully, so I'm going to sign it tonight, though.
Oh, okay, yeah, we've done this before. Okay. Correspondence.
And this document is basically stating that we have a new member of our board and that we're all,
It's just,
what exactly?
it's just they match up your signature when you sign, like an A&R plan that goes to the registry, they just wanna make sure that it's actually your signature, so
Ah,
that's what
got
they
it.
use to match up. And this tells them when you were appointed or elected to the board and when your term is up, so
I see.
anything that's signed in between those dates, they just check it and make sure it matches.
Okay,
So they usually ask for that to be updated on a yearly basis or whenever you have new people.
makes sense.
Okay. Well, if that's everything, motion to adjourn?
Seeing as the agenda is complete, we've crossed off all the items. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting tonight.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Good night.